Last but definitely not least, Gerance Mutual, environmental scientist at Greenpeace Africa. Ladies and gentlemen, we talk a lot about environment, but when it's World Environment Day, what exactly, because I can see you're all environmentalists in your different capacity, this must be your greatest day.
Absolutely.
What does it mean to you, Gerance?
First, it's a day, thank you so much for having us and me over this place. First, I can say it's my birthday in terms of...
Oh, okay.
In terms of grounding myself to know that I'm celebrating whatever is making me alive in this earth. So the environment consists of everything that is around us, the soil, the air, the plants and the vegetation and all the animals that are around. So, and this is our core obligation to us all to be existent in this planet. So for me, it's like a day of celebrating whatever is making me to live in this earth.
Okay. Willis, what does this day mean to you?
Yeah, it's quite, thank you very much, Fred, first and foremost, for it's a pleasure actually having with you in the studio. So the World Environment Day is a very, very important day, not only for the Kenyan community, but the world at large, because it's a day that is marked every year, June 5th, just basically to encourage awareness and continue to protect the environment. We understand how badly the environment these days is degraded, is spoiled. And it's really an opportunity for the international community basically to come together and see how best to secure the future. Time is running out for us, so we must really take quick action to restore and protect the environment.
And Alice, what does this day mean to you?
Yeah, thank you, Fred. It's a huge pleasure to be here and also be with such a fantastic panel. Well, the World Environment Day is such a fantastic and an incredible day because it spotlights awareness on the environmental challenges that, you know, are facing in today's world. And also, most importantly, other than spotlighting the challenges, it is also an opportunity to spotlight some of the solutions on how we can be able to address these environmental challenges. And I feel that the theme and focus for this year's World Environmental Day on landscape restoration and resilience to desertification and drought is quite timely, especially considering, you know, some of the environmental challenges that we have been experiencing, not just in the face of climate change. We have been seeing a lot of extreme events, for example, floods, prolonged droughts, high temperatures, and much of the world is really feeling this impact. So it is the best, perhaps, day that we can talk of, you know, throughout the year, and that need to be celebrated and acknowledged by everyone.
Okay.
Yeah.
And before we get down to the discussion, let's take a look at this feature prepared by my colleague William Moige on world restoration.
The wilderness of the landscape, intense smell of the dust, and the incredible liquid voices of birds chirping, plus the profile of hills, ushers you into Laikipia County, sitting at the foot of the majestic Mount Kenya. The land here was once...
Kenya relies heavily on rain-fed agriculture, a system which is under threat due to the negative impacts of climate change. To ensure sustainable food production, Kenyan farmers are embracing irrigation. In Deya, a semi-arid area in Kiambu County, farmers are adapting to the change. Esther Njoki has been farming for the last 20 years. She has been impacted adversely by climate change. In 2020, she made a deliberate decision to change her farming model.
Siku hizi kumebadilika. Unaweza pada, ujui kesho yake.
In the prolonged drought period between 2022-2023, hundreds of households in Deya were greatly affected, leaving families to depend on relief food for survival. Njoki was, however, an exception.
Sasa ukiwa jua saba sitakaa hivyo. Hakuna kulima mpaka ugoje mvua. Sasa unaona wakati nilipata damu, hata sana natakanga kulima wakati wa jua.
She has been able to produce vegetables for 3 consecutive seasons in a year, pocketing thousands of shillings after selling her produce.
Wakati tuseme mvua itanyesha, maboga itakuwa karibu ikome. Sasa nao wale wengine wataingia kwa saba. Sasa tumeachana nao kwa sababu akisema ni kupanda na mimi niko karibu kukata.
Agnes Mukuhe, a retired teacher, has turned to commercial farming. She shares irrigation water with Njoki and has been able to harvest even during the dry season.
You know, I used to have a salary. So I wanted something that to keep me going. I wanted income. Then what was this which could give me the income? So I decided, since I have that passion, wacha tu niingilie kulima, niingilie kwa mboga. Kwanza nikapanda cabbages, they did very well. From there I planted broccoli, they also did very well, and cauliflower. So from there, I moved on.
For us to be able to produce food for the ever increase in population, which has actually increased at almost 1.7% in a year, then we need to do irrigation. And under MTV4, we are targeting to grow that to about 5.2% in a year.
According to farmers, rain-fed farming is risky, exacerbated by climate change effects. Although efforts by government agency, National Irrigation Authority, to ensure that an increase in irrigation investment is achieved to support farmers, stakeholders are making a clarion call for policy support, funding, capacity development and promotion of irrigation as the new tact in adaptability and addressing the country's food security.
We have a robust and aggressive programs to harvest water, starting with the large dams up to the small, what we call household water pans across the country. So our target is a multi-phased approach whereby we are doing both the large dams in this country for irrigation, starting with the high grant force dams.
The Ministry of Water, Sanitation and Irrigation affirms that small-scale irrigation forms 54% of irrigated land, but there is an emerging concern: the sustainability and dependability of irrigation.
So after some time, if all you have your irrigation, I have mine, Joash has his, what happens? You see, at the end of the day, maybe in the next 5 years, we will not even have that water that was coming from wherever it was coming from, even for that irrigation.
With the irrigation, without treatment of, management of soil, without management of our entire environment, even if you do that irrigation, it might not really work as you may expect.
Agriculture, as the country's backbone, accounts for more than 20% of the country's gross domestic product. Kenyans depending on the sector to fend for themselves. These considerations thus form the basis of the efforts to grow and develop the agricultural sector with a keen focus on arid and semi-arid land.
We have also been now doing demonstrations and supporting the communities now to get into irrigated horticultural farming. You'll be surprised when you go to areas like Turkana, rather not even Turkana, Wajir. They produce the most wonderful and biggest onions I've ever seen.
It is a lucrative venture for commercial farmers, but one fear lingers in them: the fear of the effects of climate change, calling on stakeholders and the government to seriously engage in the discourse of climate change mitigation and adaptability. Moige William, TV 47, Ndeya in Limuru, Kiambu County.
All right, thank you, William Moige, for that feature, which sets the tone for our conversation. You could start with that issue of land restoration. And when sometimes our audiences listen to some of these terminologies, land restoration, they may not necessarily connect. And you've had even the knowledge gap with the small-scale farmers, not really comprehending some of these concepts. Yes, we may understand effects of degradation of land, probably after the floods that we've experienced, landslides, soils being moved and washed away. But when it comes to land restoration, it may be a rather foreign or new concept to so many farmers. Is it something that you are working proactively to ensure that this knowledge gap is actually bridged, Gerans?
Yes, first I'm an environmental scientist,